That to me, that's a staggering number. Hey there, SEC sports fans. It's another episode of the Brew and Shavers SEC Sports Podcast. You can tell already that it's called Brew and Shavers, but there's Justin and Shavers here this week. Ben is on special assignment and not able to be with us this week, but we wanted to give you just a little bit of information about some of the things that are going on, especially within SEC football. Just give it a little information. It's kind of talking season and information season, but wanted to go ahead and give you a little bit this week as we continue to move forward in the off season, or move forward in the off season is what I was trying to say. We do still have some things going on. If you're not just a football fan, if you're a basketball fan, you're excited about the fact that we're rolling into postseason time. We've got roughly a little less than a month left before we hit SEC tournament, and then obviously the NCAA tournament. We're a little less than 2 months away from the NCAA national championship game and Final Four. And then also this past weekend, at the time of recording, baseball season started. A lot of classics and tournaments and a bunch of non-conference stuff. But if you're a big baseball fan, you got to see your team play this weekend. Some not so good, some pretty good. Kind of depends on the day and what team you're a fan of. But anyway, a lot going on. But we also have some things going on with with SEC football, and actually just some information we wanted to give you about SEC football. There's been a ton of conversation about the recruiting rankings, National Signing Day, transfer portal, what rosters are going to look like. Obvious that the Trinidad Chambliss thing is an enormous thing. He was not eligible. He was told he couldn't be eligible, that it wasn't going to be overturned, and then a court in the state of a judge in the state of Mississippi overturned it, and he is now eligible and going to play next year. So that's a lot to happen in a very, very short amount of time. So part of the information I wanted to give you tonight is I just wanted us to look real quick at where overall rankings are. This is from 24/7 Sports, and this is what the combination of recruiting rankings and that now that the transfer portal is closed, there still could be some small changes here and there, but most of the big pieces are in place. So where did teams shape up in the final overall rankings, a consideration of total roster, transfer portal, and recruiting rankings? Now, this is going to surprise no one, I believe, but the number one overall ranking, according to 24/7 Sports, is LSU. The LSU Tigers have an incredible recruiting class, have an incredible transfer portal haul. Lane Kiffin has continued at LSU doing the exact same thing he was doing at Ole Miss. Now, the interesting thing that are one of the numbers that really jumped out to me is the fact that we are talking about, when you look at it, the way the football teams are shaped and put together now. And we've been talking about this, but the numbers are so dramatic this year. It's part of what I wanted to share with you for this week. With the transfer portal and all the different movements and changes and things that can be done, the one thing that hasn't changed is a team can only have 85 scholarship players. So that means that when you look at some of these total numbers, it becomes very staggering. For instance, LSU has 58 commits for the 2026 recruiting class. That is a combination of recruiting and transfer portal. So I guess I should say the 2026 commit class. Their total commitments is 56 in both transfer portal and recruiting. So what that means is almost 60% of their scholarship players will be new this year. That, to me, that's a staggering number. Again, when you think about the what transfer portal looks like and recruiting and everything. We talk a lot about all the movement and these players going here and 4,000 players in the portal. But when you bring it down to that level of, okay, guys that are on scholarship that are playing for this team last year versus this year, 60% are now going to be completely and totally different and on campus, on the field, a part of this team for the first time. 6 out of 10. Pretty staggering number. Now, the thing about that is when you look at the other teams in the SEC, especially let's just look at the top half, LSU stands out because their number is bigger, but the percentage is not necessarily an anomaly. When you look at the top eight, there are only two of the top eight in total commitment ranking, total commitment class of 2026 commitment class ranking. Only two of the top eight are actually bringing back 50% or a little bit more of their roster. Georgia is at number 6 in the top eight, and they had 40 total commits, and Oklahoma is at number 8 in the top eight, the top half of the class in the 2026 commitment class, and they only have 41 commits. So they again are under that 50% mark. So they're bringing back more than 50% of their scholarship roster. You would think on some level this would be a little bit of an advantage for both of these teams to have at least some smaller level of turnover, especially when you look at, again, like we talked about, LSU at number 1 overall, 58 total commits. Again, 60% of their scholarship roster will be on campus on this team for the first time. Another one that really stands out is Ole Miss at 51. That is a large number, again, between that 50 and 60% range. And Tennessee is at 52. Interestingly, I have to bring this up. The only other SEC school that is bringing back more than 50% of its scholarship roster is Vanderbilt, with a total of 38 commitments between recruiting and the transfer portal. And that's a significant number for Vanderbilt because of the amount of seniors. And I know the jokes are all there, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8-year seniors, whatever they had, but still, because of the amount of seniors from this historic 10-2 group last year, to still be bringing back 50% of more than 50% of your current scholarship roster is an achievement for Vanderbilt, considering that level of seniors that they had, or those that left the program at senior night. That senior night was their last night. So our top 8, I don't think I've given you that completely. Our top 8 commitment classes for 2026, again, LSU 1, Texas 2, Alabama 3, Tennessee 4. And again, remember, this is a combination of recruiting class, the early and late signing period, and the transfer portal class. Texas A&M at 5, Georgia at 6, Ole Miss at 7, and Oklahoma at 8. Pretty incredible accomplishments for both of those, or all 8 of those schools. Really doing some incredible things, having some great recruiting classes, bringing in a lot of 5 stars. LSU, Texas, and Alabama all had 4 or more. Alabama had 4, Texas had 4, and LSU had 5 stars that they brought in either through recruiting or through the portal. It really shows you a lot of the strength that the conference, every team in the conference is going to bring. Just a couple of other just small footnotes of teams that we need to talk about that you would think could possibly have a difficult time next year because they had a coaching change and then had a large exodus that led to large recruiting classes, or rather led to large commitment classes. Arkansas and Auburn both stand out. We talked about that 50% threshold, which is right around 43, at least 43 players. Auburn has 65 new scholarship commitments, and Arkansas has 60. That is, I mean, when you think about those two teams and when all of those guys get together, and now there's going to be another 30 or 40 of walk ons and different things, but 85 is the scholarship limit. So when those 85 scholarship players are standing there together at Auburn and Arkansas, I mean, you're talking 20, 25 guys at the most that have been there, a part of that program before. That's a large number. And with a coaching change, I feel like that's really going to make things difficult for this first year. Now, who knows? We've seen amazing things happen. Look at what's going on right now at Indiana in a very, very short amount of time. So the transfer portal, if a group gels, can make incredible things happen. So this might be a setup for both of these schools, Auburn and Arkansas, to have incredible years and make for an amazing story. We don't know. That's part of the fun. That's part of why we watch, part of why we're so passionate about it. But all of this is leading up to the fact that we're within about 45 days of the majority of spring games, and most schools are having spring games this year. Spring practices most of the time take place over a 4 to 6 week period, but you still only have a certain amount of practices. But most schools are going to start in that end of February to mid March range. So somewhere February 28th ish to March 11th. Most schools will start spring practice. We'll start to have all the buzz. It'll almost feel like it's preseason again because we're talking about practice. We're going to our whatever site that we want to go to. Ben's a big LSU fan, always listening to Matt Moscona and Locked On LSU. Me being a Vanderbilt fan, always listening to Chris Lee and the Vandy 24/7 guys. You have your schools, you have your podcast, you have your message boards, all of those things. Man, they'll be lighting up here in just a few weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, when we get spring practice rolling. Again, that's not the only thing going on. We're less than a month away from basketball. Baseball is rolling. There's a lot of sport. If you're just a sport fan, there's a lot going on. Please be sure and hit that like button down below, and also please hit the subscribe button and hit that notification button. This episode will be out this week. Obviously, we're going to put out a lot of shorts of some different conversations and topics we've had in past episodes. Just some things to refresh some of the things we've talked about and some of the things we like to do on our channel. We would really, really appreciate you subscribing and be a part of it. Please comment down below. We love that. We love feeling like we are starting and being a part of a conversation about SEC football, the thing that we are all so very excited and passionate about. Hope you have a blessed week, and we'll talk to you next week.